Our guest today on the Bridge is Jade Bird, the new album, who wants to talk about love. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me in, yeah.
You know, I just want to say that you are perhaps the most outgoing, bubbly, and joyful person that we've ever had for an in-studio.
Wow.
And I think that the downside to that is that maybe people overlook what an amazing songwriter you are.
Really? Oh my goodness. I try my best, you know. It's good to be alive.
Well, yeah. But I love the attitude, but the songs are so good too.
Thank you so much.
And I do, this is the first time I've ever done anything like this, but I would like to issue a reverse spoiler warning and go straight to the end of the interview. I think that the rest of it will go much better if we establish the end right up front, which is you are now happy.
Yes, I felt like we were in a sci-fi novel then. I was like, what is going on? We're doing dimensional traveling? What's happening? Yes, no, I am happy. It took a while. The mid-20s were absolutely chaotic. No one told me that was going to happen.
You know, I talked about your songwriting, and I think that, it's like if you want to do a body of work that has meaning, that most of the people that we admire for being in that spot do have their breakup album.
Yeah, I think I struggled because I felt like life was moving so quickly and the lessons I was learning, and trying to condense that into 12 songs that sound alike, as well as anyone who knows my music, I really like to explore and genre cross, and so trying to get it all into this body of work was pretty tough and took a while. Like I said, some dark times in the 20s, but we got there eventually.
You know, when you came in the last time, I actually wrote down the quote, "Betrayal of trust is the kind of substance that makes good songwriting."
Well, she was a happy gal. Oh my God, that was that without therapy, that, yeah.
So you were actually a couple of years into making this record when the breakup happened.
Yes.
So, I'm assuming that the album took a turn at that point. How much of those 2 years worth of work survived?
It's a good question. Yeah, because obviously, as you know, I was touring with him as well. He was in my band, so it was really like a snowball of just sheer chaos. And I'm kind of writing through it, and the way I songwrite, it feels like I'm trying to tell myself something. Sort of my subconscious letting me know where I'm at. And I feel like there were a lot of songs kind of preempting me leaving, and that was quite interesting. But I think, we're talking about 4 or 5 that made the record that were from before. Which, considering how much I wrote, isn't that much at all.
I think the last time that we talked, which is it was before the first album came out, you said that you had something, I didn't write down the number, but it was several hundred songs. Yeah. So are you still as prolific?
Yes, I mean, I'm kind of beating myself up at the minute because I haven't had time to write, so I'm just like, it's your job, what are you doing? But I have a list I make every year, the amount of books I read and the amount of songs I write, and we usually 50 to 70 vibes of the songs, trying to keep that up. It is my job. I treat it as a job because it's a craft, and I think to get better you kind of have to put the hours in. That's the way I've always felt about it, and then you just hope for that moment where everything aligns and you say exactly what you want to say in a meaningful way.
I think it's a fair question to ask if you ever go back and pull any of those songs, but we don't need to ask that one because you did pull one from when you were 16, and it gave you the album title.
Yes, exactly. I think I was very fascinated. The reason I chose to call it that title as well is because I was really fascinated with how my parents and my grandparents' relationships had informed my own outlook. I was talking about betrayal of trust when I was 19, you know what I mean? But that's because all I'd ever seen. Divorce on both sides, and literally the genesis of a songwriter, as I say, a lot of heartbreak, a lot of sticky stuff. But I think, that's why I kind of went back to the heart of that time at 16, where I couldn't work out, there was no clarity. I couldn't really work out what was going on and why, because you're just enough of a child for them to only tell you a little bit, but you're not enough of an adult to have gone through it yourself. And I think that's why I chose that song, because it just felt so real and poignant in that.
So when you hear that song now, or when you perform Who Once, does it resonate with you in a different way? Massively,
yeah. I think I found myself in the position that I was describing both my mum and my grandma in. That's where I was writing the song from the perspective of. And then I was like, oh, it's ended up to be me. Wonderful.
You know, I feel like you've dealt with some difficult material, but really you've been careful to, at least to some degree, look for forgiveness for everyone involved, not least of which yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit to you, I'm sort of 50% of the way there on that. I wish I was a bit further, but I've got a little, I've got a little punch to me. There's a song that finishes my record that's actually about my dad. That's about forgiveness, and I'll probably talk about it when I play it. And that's something I reconcile with. I get very emotional on stage when I sing it, because a lot of these songs and these lessons I'm not finished. That's why it's Who Wants to Talk, because it's a conversation, and I don't know, no one ever is. You know, you'll be 50 or 60 and I feel like you've not got all the answers to this strange journey that is love and life and whatnot. So yeah, I would love to sit here and be like, yeah, I'm so forgiving, I'm so pious, I'm so great, got great feelings about the ex, but I'm not there.
Well, it's almost like it's okay, though, to verbalize it and to aspire to have the emotional response that you want to feel naturally.
I know. You're right. I feel like as I feel like therapy, I'm like, I can see the end of the tunnel, but I'm learning.
You have said publicly more than once that you left some of the more fiery songs by the side of the road. Are we going to get to hear those at some point?
Yes. I'm trying to put them out because I was just a bit done with anger. A lot of the way, especially the women in my family deal with stuff. We're a big Alanis Morissette fan, So we're like, and Carrie Underwood, we're like, dug my keys into the side of his. There's a lot of revenge, and that's how we deal with our emotions. Again, very healthy, very healthy. So I wrote a lot of songs at that time, but when I put this album out, I was like, I'm a bit bored of that ruling my life in such a damaging way. But yeah, we're going to chuck them out. I'm not sure when, but we'll chuck them out.
So glad you did.
Yeah.
Kind of lives in that realm, doesn't it?
Oh, it really does. You got me. Yeah, that's me probably at my most... but none of it's untrue, but it is the most confessional of the spikes of a breakup.
And it's not like this is all like I didn't get sad listening to this record.
Right.
I mean, it's an upbeat, positive record. Save Your Tears is a love song.
The only one, isn't it?
Yeah.
The only one that made it on. But it is, you're right, it is.
Yeah, you must be a big fan of irony. Dreams.
Yes, yeah, that was a heartbreaking irony. I had probably one of the worst nights of my life. Anyone who's been through a really rough relationship will know when things get out of hand a little bit and you no longer see the reflection of yourself in that experience. And I woke up kind of the morning after a particularly mirroring evening, and I had to go to a session that I was really, really excited for. It was a producer I'd admired for a long time, but I was very, very broken. And I remember literally looking up in true LA fashion at this billboard and it being like, this is what dreams are made of, probably like buy popcorn or something. I don't know what it was advertising. And I just felt like that dissonance between the sunshine and where I was and, even in my career. And I went into the studio and he just started playing the piano and that song pulled out. So there was a lot of moments like that it wasn't fun irony, not the type I enjoy.
I'm sure that, this is like small, like justification or whatever, but it's a good song. I mean, it's a really good song.
Yeah, the ones from the deepest places are, unfortunately. It's like this kind of chrysalis of, pain and discomfort often does make the purest thing.
It's too late now, but next time you come, there's plenty of room on the couch. You can sometimes travel with your dog. I was really hoping.
She's mean.
Really? What have you done to her?
She's quite mean. Nothing at all. That's the way she came. Do you know what I mean? I adopted her in Austin. She was a massive foster failure in the pandemic. But it's taken me years to get her to the point where she will just accept your existence. Mine she's cool with, but yours she might be, she'd be pretty territorial of this area by ear. But yeah, I do try and take her where I can.
It feels like every project you have done is quintessentially Jadebird, but they're all different.
Yeah.
So, folk music next?
Damn right. That's where I'm going. I'm so excited about that. I feel like I've always been kind of trying to figure out my place entirely. You know, songwriting to me is something I can take with me into any genre. I'm just really excited about what folk music stands for, you know, and I'm really excited about how I can have my voice in that. Like the Felice Brothers, I'm going back to a huge kick of them. And, you know, that's exactly where all the new material is I'm writing.
So you mentioned keeping a reading list. So my understanding is that you like books that are somewhat dystopian,
Yeah,
that
big
maybe
time.
some sci-fi mixed in there.
Yeah, I am a nerd, yeah.
And then on top of that, I have also heard that you have started writing fiction.
Yeah, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm trying my best.
So is it dystopian? Is it sci-fi?
It's pretty dystopian. You got me there. Yeah. Yeah, writing in that way is so intriguing to me. It's a completely different craft, and it's like seems consistency is rewarded. Being able to sit down and write in that way. But I'm a real, I don't want to say, I'm equally as cynic as I am hopeful, and I feel like that's kind of the best concoction for, you know, dystopia, you know?
Why do I feel like you're so happy and so warm and so bubbly, and then all of the dark, horrible stuff comes out in like your art?
You know what? You're exactly right there. Yeah. It's a balance. I think, you know, that probably leads to the cliche of like art is ultimately like it is like therapy, isn't it? It's a lot cheaper than therapy.
Yeah.
You know, that's probably why it all comes out in that way. You're right.
Well, whatever the package is, it generates a lot of love. You know, there's tremendous love for you here.
Oh,
at
thank
the
you so
station.
much. Yeah, it's so good to be back, by the way. Thank you so much for all the support. I really do appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming in today.
Yeah.
Jade Bird, Who Wants to Talk About Love, the new record. It's been such a pleasure to have you in.
Absolutely. It's so good to be back.
Appreciate it so much.
Thank you, guys.
Don't make it another 7 years.
I promise I won't. Absolutely not.
Jade Bird today in the Bridge Studios.
Now available on 90.9 The Bridge YouTube.